Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today is the day that we are reacting to The Car by none other than the Arctic Monkeys. Yes, that is them in the poster behind me. A couple things to address. Thank you guys so much for all of your likes in the comments and just the feedback on my last video. I was really nervous to do that. I've never done an album review like that before, and it was just a stellar album and a really fun experience listening to it, editing the video, posting it, replying to all the comments, and just receiving all the love and like having all these conversations with you guys. It's just been a really fun experience, and it's definitely inspiring me, obviously, to do more. So I'm really grateful for that. I would just love to keep that going with you guys. So please give me more feedback. What did you like or dislike about this album? What did you like or dislike about my style of, reacting to this and editing this? Again, this is like super new to me and it's very fun, so let me know. Also, I am going to be using this like little wired headphone mic. I have no equipment. I'm recording on my phone. Last video, there was a lot of background noise, so my AC unit is off, my windows are shut, curtains are drawn, but if you do hear something, I'm so sorry. I live in one of the biggest cities in the world, so there's not really too much I can do about that. Also, Finnegan is here. He came and scratched at my door right as I started this. So he's probably just gonna be back there doing whatever he does. Sorry if he does something weird like that. So before I get into the album, I want to talk about my expectations. I have heard one track off of this album, which is the first one, There Better Be a Mirrorball. That was the first single that was released out of the three. And that was before I was doing these YouTube reactions or had the idea. So obviously, I just went straight away and listened to it once I realized that they were releasing songs again. What I've just heard and read and seen online about this album is that it's very different than anything they've done before. I think that There Better Be a Mirrorball does have some elements of Tranquility Base Hotel in it. So that's kind of where my expectations are. But at the same time, people are saying that it's really different. And so I am just blank slate. What are these guys doing? I'm so excited. Let's just get into track number 1, There Better Be a Mirrorball. Such a good way to start. God, the suspense is amazing.
Don't get emotional.
That's my boy.
That ain't seems to better suit
the nostalgia
the mood
that this song brings. Goddamn.
So if you wanna walk me to the car,
album title drop.
So can we please be absolutely sure that there's a Mirrorball? You're getting cynical and that won't do. I'd throw the rose tint back on the exploded view.
I really like that line.
Wanna walk me to the car?
The strings are so beautiful. God, this is an aching song. It just aches and longs and drags. This is why I love them. I literally feel like crying. I'm not gonna. Not yet. There's a little bit of bongos or something in the back there. I was not expecting them to start with that song, honestly. I guess I wasn't thinking that something of such a slow tempo was going to be the start, but honestly, it's perfect because that song has such a strong intro with dun-dun. It's perfectly chilling and nostalgic, but also just so loving and longing, and you can't have that love, but you want it and you have to say goodbye. Trying to drag on something that has to end He doesn't say any of that, but it's the feeling. I know this feeling. That is just something that Alex Turner does so well. It doesn't have to be so literal in like the lyrics. They're not so like upfront with what they're saying and what they're doing, but it's there and you can't deny it. Just an incredibly strong start, and I'm so excited to get into the rest of this. Track number 2 is called I Ain't Quite Where I Think I Am. This was another single that was released. Let's get into it. Whoa. Okay, yeah, so different. I'm in shock. I love it, but I'm in shock. This is so different for them. The bass line is very Arctic Monkeys, but like them. Not them at all. It's like disco blues combo. To fill the awkward silences, the disco strobes in the disco, see? The spare set of tingles always up. Wow, those harmonies. Oh man. If I get it my way. Nice little Sinatra salute there. I love the chord progression right there. Honestly, I like took a minute to like get out of shock there. That is so different than anything they've ever done. I love it so much. I thought that was really cool. I just don't get how they come up with new shit all the time. How do they mesh with this? Like, they're a band. They have to agree on these like changes. It's nuts. Yeah, I love the sound. The lyrics are very cool. The expectation of social situations being different than the reality of them and figuring that out and realizing it. I think that's something that most people are familiar with, but he just says it in such a lovely poetic way. Like, stackable party guests. How do you even think about that? Like, to use that adjective, stackable. But it works, and I know exactly what he's saying. I would kill to see their writing process. Track number 3, Sculptures of Anything Goes. Get out of here. I love how they cut that off. How am I supposed to manage my infallible beliefs while I'm sucking it to you? You can't see, but I have goosebumps. Goosebumps. Italian TV. Sometime in the future, sculptures of anything goes. On the marble stairs, is that vague sense of longing? Drums kicking in. Trying to cause a scene. Guess I'm talking to you now. I love how stripped that was at the beginning. And you said I'm out loud, blank. The timing on this, blank. Against gallery wall. Marble stairs leading to almost where fuck. This is like a movie soundtrack. Flash that angle, grind a smile, gasp. And roll your eyes and help. Wow, what a unique sound there at the end. That song, the word that comes to mind is just entertaining. That was so not boring. The way it's like so stripped at the beginning, but like that's such a crazy booming gritty bass. I felt like I could have listened to the whole song with just that, and then they slowly brought other things in, but like didn't overwhelm it either. Lyrically, it's a lot of 1 to 2 like chunks of lines that kind of go together. It's not really telling too much of a story as much as it's creating just like a picture or like a feeling. Again, they're good at that. I'm honestly a little bit lost on it, but I'm excited to listen to it again. And that gasp. Mr. Alex Turner. Realistically, these are all songs that I'm going to listen to like 100 times over. This is probably one that I would listen to less so just on a day-to-day basis because it's like pretty intense, but it feels dramatic and cinematic. It's like very like dystopian main character. Excellent vibes. Great song. Track number 4 is Jet Skis on the Moat.
Jet skis on the moat. They shot it all in cinema-scope. You're gonna ride.
This sounds similar to Mirrorball.
Showstoppers
The piano and the stops, the sudden stops.
Is there something on your mind? Sit there and watch while the paint job dries.
Again, very bluesy.
When it's over one night.
I'm about to romanticize the shit out of New York listening to this around the city.
The smoke, pajama pants and a Subutio cloak.
Their lyrics, what is that?
Know that
It's so lovely, but like, how do you think of that? Where does that come from?
It's over your.
And this is so like lazy, but like sexy at the same time.
As though it's the last time you're gonna ride.
It is actually just so nuts to hear that and then think about Favorite Worst Nightmare and like how different they are. So good. I love that they're like leaning more into like bluesy sort of rhythm and like slow and like I don't even know how to describe it. It just feels so romantic and nostalgic, and that's like kind of a theme throughout a lot of their songs, but that especially just makes me want to like go outside and live life. A lot of their music, but this song specifically has the essence of like a film noir, like black and white, femme fatale, kind of like tortured love. I'm very fond of that, so I really like this song. The next song is Body Paint. This was the second single that was released before the album, and I have been like dying to hear it. So track number 5, Body Paint.
For a master of deception and subterfuge, you've made yourself quite the bed to lie in.
They're really leaning into piano
Do you
with this album.
traveling through the tanning booth, so you don't let the sun catch you crying.
I like that line a lot.
If there's something up with the wiring,
Definitely a lot more like Tranquility Base.
I'm watching your every move. I feel the tears are coming on.
Wow.
It won't be long. It won't be long.
The harmonies, chills.
Straight from the cut, and I'm keeping on my costume and calling it a writing tool.
Whoa.
And if you think
That line too.
Still a trace of body paint on your legs and on your arms and on your face.
They are putting it all out there. Not a stone unturned. They're hitting everything. I'm not usually a fan of when songs fade out, just in general, so don't love that. Yes. Yes. I want to relive that again. I love the theme of this song. Arctic Monkeys lyrics are like 90% of the reason why I love the Arctic Monkeys. 80. What really puts them as like my number one artist all time is Alex Turner's lyrics. He's just done it again. So my interpretation of this song is it's like singing to a person who has this front on, but Alex is able to see through it. One line that I especially liked was, do your time traveling through the tanning booth so you don't let the sun catch you crying. You have to put up a front, but you can't let like the sun or like the outside see who you really are. Such a beautiful way to phrase that, instead of saying like you're hiding who you really are because you don't want people to see the real you. Along with that, like the whole concept of body paint, no one's really used that analogy for putting up a front. Most people use like saying like putting on like a mask or like having some kind of facade, but body paint is like a really interesting way to put it. The other line that I liked was, and I'm keeping on my costume and calling it a writing tool. I think this is like the whole concept of method acting, is to be the person that you're acting as at all times so that you can get into character. And he's kind of saying that, like, I'm keeping on my costume all the time so that I can write these songs better and I can be a better artist. It's a very dangerous game to lose yourself in that. And he says it in 2 lines, and that's a very complicated thing. Music-wise, it's very easy to listen to. It's like still surprising and exciting, and you know, it kind of still hits you with emotion, but it's not overwhelming and loud. They're very talented for that. So track number 6 is the title song of this album, The Car.
But it ain't a holiday until you go to fetch something from the car. Jump off there and you pretend to fall asleep on the way back.
I used to do that as a kid. Sorry, I'm being quiet. I'm trying to decide how I feel about this song. They were 5 for 5, but I don't think I can say that's 6 for 6. Something about that was just off to me. It just wasn't really for me. It didn't really have any moments building or like dropping down or stripping things down. It just kind of stayed in the same place the whole way through. I don't know, cool song. I feel like I need to give it another listen before I really make my judgment. Alright, track number 7 is called Big Ideas.
That's quite a number to see.
It's really surprising how string heavy this album is.
You co-direct and play the twins.
I already like this better.
I had big ideas, the band was so excited, but now the orchestra's got us all surrounded, and I cannot for the life of me remember how they go.
This is kind of funny.
Some just hysterical scenes.
That would be me.
The ballad of what could have been.
Hysterical at the scene of them.
Really, it's been a thrill.
Over and out.
I had big ideas. The band was so
don't do that to me.
Not share over before.
That is such a lovely sound. It really sounds like a music score. I like the guitar. I'm glad they brought it back. That was a fun little build.
I just can't for the life of me remember how they go.
Okay, hold on. I just got scared. He's talking about life in a band and touring and releasing albums and all of that. And he says, over and out, really, it's been a thrill. Don't say that. Don't say that. One day they're going to stop releasing music. That has been a fear of mine for a couple years now. And luckily that day is not today because they literally just did. But that was not funny. I don't know if that was just a tease or if it's like, oh, in the future, that's how I'm going to feel about it, or that's how I imagine artists feel about it when they retire. Not funny, though. Yeah, I preferred that song a lot more than The Car. This is interesting because it kind of gives a little bit of a window into the writing process, a little bit of a window into the writing process of this album. I can't imagine how frustrating that must be to have all these ideas and maybe not have pen and paper at the right time, or like not being able to get into the studio at the right time, or just not being able to really put it into existence. Just painting the picture of the orchestra's got us surrounded, and I cannot for the life of me remember how they go. What an unsettling feeling. Oh, what I said before, that this sounds like a music score. I would love to see a movie with this sort of sound. If you didn't know, Alex Turner has an independent project for the film Submarine, and it is one of my favorite albums ever. It's lovely. It's just great. I actually have not seen the movie that album is for because I'm afraid that I won't like it. That's not really a way to live life, so maybe I should watch it. But yeah, so highly recommend. He's done it before, and so it'd be interesting to see if he could do it again. Track number 8 is called Hello You. Again with like kind of like bongo sounds.
If you're calling, I won't pull around the car.
The car.
Specializing. Hello, you.
This is a walking song. There are like certain songs that I see myself walking down the street. I love how much his voice goes up and down in pitch.
Hello, still dragging out a long goodbye.
Dragging out a long goodbye. There's that theme again. Wow, what a weird sound. Ooh. Let them out. Let the band out. I want to hear them. The focus of the song is definitely more on the strings than like their traditional instruments, like guitar and drum. I like this long outro. I do really like the strings in this album a lot. That's not a component that's really present in their earlier albums. It sounds so beautiful and magical, but at the same time, I want the Arctic Monkeys up front. Like, no one in the Arctic Monkeys plays the strings. I like that, but I don't want it to be so at the forefront. But that's also just me basing that off of their typical sound and me being a longtime Arctic Monkeys fan, and that's not really fair because they can do whatever the fuck they want and they can reinvent themselves a million times, but I do just like their old sound a lot also. That's a song that I'm definitely going to go back to and listen to a lot. Like I said, it's a walking song. I just love like walking down the street listening to a song like that. I feel like because I enjoyed the sound so much, I didn't really read the lyrics. Sometimes the themes and like the lyrics are easier to read into, and sometimes they're very like line by line, like you could dissect it. Body Paint was pretty on the surface. I think Big Ideas was pretty on the surface, but this one is a little bit harder to get into, so I'm kind of like, it sounds nice, creates an ambiance again, but I think I would just have to like really get into it to be able to like identify like what is this song about. But I don't really want to. That's like not always very fun. Sometimes it's nice to just let it be, and if the words sound nice, then that's the purpose that they serve. Track number 9 is Mr. Schwartz. More acoustic guitar.
Put your heavy metal to the test.
Very unique for them.
Time
I wonder who's playing.
Probably for. Come here and kiss me now before it gets too cute. Mr.
I like that line.
Schwartz is staying strong for the crew.
A lot of themes of like show business in this album.
I'm smudging, dubbing on your dancing
This is like a slow, same pace
and if we
kind of song so far, but I don't mind it.
pretending to be asking after all the
I love that.
wives and the kids. It's at the heart of what the business is.
Again, yep, show business. So I think in like 2 previous songs, it was pretty clear. There's this theme of like show business, just identifying that. And like I said, that song was like slow and kind of the same like pace overall, but it wasn't boring. This character of Mr. Schwartz is interesting. It's like almost like a butler, like a stagehand, I guess. I want to know more of the lore of Mr. Schwartz. Track number 10 is the last song on this album, so here is Perfect Sense. They have a lot more acoustic guitar. I can hear it.
Having some fun.
Again, strings are very
with the
upfront.
warm-up act.
It sounds great.
That's what it takes to say goodnight.
This definitely feels like a goodbye.
Sometimes I wrap my head around it all, and it makes perfect sense.
That was a shorter song, a little bit. I know this is the final track of the album, and so the theme of goodbye is appropriate, but it just scares me. They can't end on this album. It's not 100% what I would be satisfied with as a final Arctic Monkeys album. I don't know what it would take, but this can't be it. And I don't like that it feels like it. It feels nostalgic and kind of like a ride off into the sunset sort of moment. I think this was a great track to make the final track. I think it's kind of without a question this is the last song. I mean, just sometimes I wrap my head around it all and it makes perfect sense. Like, that's closure. That's closing off the album. That really works in this album. For Decide by Joe, that was a much more open-ended end, and that really worked for that album too. But I think this one needed that closure because it was kind of all over the place. And it had less of like an obvious like theme throughout it all. Not that that's like necessary, but for that reason, I can appreciate this song closing us out a lot more. I'm gonna like take 15 and take a break and then come back and give my thoughts on the album as a whole. All right, so I ate some dinner, got another coffee, and listened to the album again. I didn't do that last time, but I make the rules. That's actually something that I wish I had done in my last video with Decide, because as I was editing it, I had so many more ideas come in. And so because I wanted to refresh my mind, because towards the end there, I started to get really like... So I took a break, listened to it again the whole way through without stopping this time. And I have some notes. So I said before, I think that I like the Arctic Monkeys 80% because of their lyrics, 20% because of their music. It's not an exact science, but mostly because of their lyrics. And this time I think that it was more like 85% lyrics, not necessarily because the lyrics were that much better, just because I liked the music a little bit less. It's a tough thing when you fall in love with a band for one reason and they evolve, and it's still the same band, but it's not the same band at all. I mean, the Arctic Monkeys started making music in the early 2000s, and it's now the 20s. Like, we're in the 20s. Yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, it's not better for worse, it's not bad or good necessarily, it's just different. That's just something to wrap my head around. It's really hard to say. No, it's not actually at all. I was gonna say, it's really hard to say if I like their new or old sound better, and I definitely prefer their old sound, and I think that's why I'm struggling with this so much. But it's not necessarily that I dislike this new sound either. I think what added to this like feeling and like sensation while I was listening to this album was there were moments where I felt this is where the old Arctic Monkeys would have done this. But instead they didn't, or they did something different that aligns a little bit more with their new sound of like the car and tranquility bass, especially in the song. Sorry, I gotta look at my notes. Especially in Hello You, the band is there, but it's not like at the forefront, but they want to be. I don't know, there's a little bit of like a conflict there, and I don't know if that's me projecting how I feel about the Arctic Monkeys onto this album, or if that was actually like present in the creation of this album. It's obviously hard for a band to stay together for so long. You come together because you all have the same idea of what you want the sound to be. But then over the years, like, people change and you get bored of things, or you get really attached to things, and that's all person to person. So it's just pretty amazing that despite that and just time working against them, that this band has stayed pretty strong together, but without having a consistent sound. Like, they've all collectively agreed upon, this is how we're changing. Yeah, it just makes me wonder, like who compromised? Because someone did. Look how cute Finn looks. Oh my god. The next thing that I noted was how they used strings in this album. This album was super, super string heavy, and it totally made it so beautiful, but that was just another reason to me why it felt like the Arctic Monkeys were hiding behind the strings. Not behind, but like they were like playing around the strings, and that's not something that they've done before. It's just something to get used to, and I think doing that singled out Alex Turner more as a frontman, and his vocals were a lot more of the focus than any of the other band members, because they were just kind of like accompanying him. In terms of like song to song, this album started so incredibly strong, so strong, and I don't think it was carried all the way through. I think we were like cruising at like a pretty high level, and then we hit the car, and then it like kind of went back up a little bit, but like was just kind of like, all right, let's get this over with. When it comes to theme of the album, I said this already, but it feels like a goodbye. So there are a couple reasons why I think that. Generally, there was just a very nostalgic vibe to this album, just a slower pace. Also, the strings definitely added to that nostalgia. So general like sound and minor chords, and just a mood that it puts you in. Also, I said this, but there is a theme like throughout a lot of the songs, and that is just the long goodbye, or the goodbye that you don't want to say. I just can't help but think that that is related to their career as a whole, and also the mention of like show business and that being kind of a secondary theme. Those are like the two like most prominent themes that I have been able to identify. So obviously putting those together, it's, you don't want to say goodbye to show business, but it's coming. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say if it's necessarily a goodbye or if it's just reflective, or both, reflecting on the past and saying goodbye to it, or just reflecting on the past and knowing that eventually they're going to have to say bye to it. It's hard to say, but it is definitely uncertain to the audience. Who knows if it's uncertain to them or not. I mean, they're going on a world tour with this album soon. Like, I'm seeing them next September, so it's definitely not goodbye just yet. So telling myself that so that I'm not sad, because I feel sad. I feel like it is a goodbye. I don't know. I think ending with Perfect Sense, where it seems like Alex has wrapped his head around things, has come to terms with it, and it makes perfect sense now. That's just kind of the thing where it's like, okay, where's that taking you now? Like, we don't know. Does he know? Maybe, maybe not. Only time will tell. Oh, my roommate just got home, so he's leaving. Those are all the thoughts that I have right now, just after 2 listens. The beauty of the Arctic Monkeys is that there's so many ways to interpret their music, and so I would love to hear what you guys are thinking. Is this goodbye? Are they getting close to the end of their career? What are some of like the themes that you caught on to? How do you feel about their sound now? Yeah, let me know your thoughts. Give this video a like if you like the format of this. Keep an eye out on my channel because I definitely will be doing more of these. Let me know of any recommendations that you have for albums to react to. There is always new music that is coming out, but also there's a lot of music that I haven't heard still. So shoot it out there and I'll let you know if I have or haven't heard it yet. If you stayed until the end of this video, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and hope you have a great rest of your day or evening, wherever you are, and I will see you in the next one.
When the morning comes and when the morning's done, will the morning birds sound like morning doves? Does it turn to dust? Must I learn to trust? The brush is lovely enough. You must sweep me up, sweep me up, sweep me up like dust. Treat me like a man, not a mountain of crumbs. Don't need to stick around.